So, welcome, friends, to the weekly interfaith meeting. This is to bring unity among the different religions in the world. And I will offer the honoring the indigenous people. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians of. So, welcome, friends, to the weekly interfaith meeting. This is to bring unity among the different religions in the world. And I will offer the honoring the indigenous people. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent. The Gadigal of the Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place we now call Sydney, and Wangal people are traditional owners of Burwood, where we live.
Create in me a pure heart, oh my God, and renew a tranquil conscience within me, oh my hope, through the Spirit of power, confirm thou me in thy cause, oh my best beloved, confirm thou me in thy cause, and by the light of thy glory reveal unto me thy path. By the light of thy glory reveal unto me thy path, O thou the goal of my desire, and through the power of thy transcendent might, lift me up unto the heaven of thy holiness, O source of my being, and by the breezes of the manifest and the most hidden of the hidden, the most manifest of the manifest and the most hidden of the 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 hidden
Intone, O my servant, the verses of God that have been received by thee, is intoned by them who have drawn nigh unto him, that the sweetness of thy melody may kindle thy own soul and attract the hearts of all men. Whoso resideth in the privacy of his chamber, the verses revealed by God, the scattering angels of the Almighty, shall scatter abroad the fragrance of the words uttered by his mouth, and shall cause the heart of every righteous man to throb. Though he may, at first, remain unaware of its effect, that the virtue of the grace vouchsafed unto him must needs sooner or later exercise influence upon his soul. Thus have the mysteries of the revelation of God been decreed by virtue of the will of him who is the source of power and wisdom. Paula.
There is a polish for everything that becomes rusty, and the polish for the heart is the remembrance of God. As from the Islam hadith of something, the middle. The regular act of prayer is a sacred obligation upon believers in its prescribed time. When you have completed the prayer rite, keep God in constant recollection. Remember your Lord in your soul with humility and reverence morning and evening. That's from the Quran.
May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. My mouth will speak words of wisdom. The meditation of my heart will give you understanding. May my meditation be pleasing to him as I rejoice in the Lord. And we all who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. Christian Scriptures, Psalm 1949 and 104 and 2 Corinthians.
Reflect, O people, on the grace and blessings of your Lord, and yield him thanks. At eventide and dawn, we have commanded you to pray and fast from the beginning of maturity. This is ordained by God, your Lord, and the Lord of your forefathers. Baha'u'llah, Kitab Atas, paragraph 33 and 10. Let not thy tongue pay lip service to pray in praise of God, while thy heart be not attuned to the exalted summit of glory. The focal point of communion. The most acceptable prayer is the one offered with the utmost spirituality and radiance. Its prolongation had not been and is not beloved of God. The Bab, selections from the writings of the Bab, pages 94 and 17.
The wisdom of prayer is this, that it causeth a connection between the servant and the true one. Because in that state, man with all heart and soul turneth his face towards his Highness the Almighty, seeking his association and describing his love and compassion. The greatest happiness for a lover is to converse with his beloved, and the greatest gift for a seeker is to become familiar with the object of his longing. That is why with every soul who is attracted to the kingdom of God, his greatest hope is to find an opportunity to entreat and supplicate before his beloved, appeal for his mercy and grace, and be immersed in the ocean of his utterance, goodness and generosity. Besides all this, prayer and fasting is the cause of awakening and mindfulness and conducive to protection and preservation from tests. The obligatory prayer is revealed from the Supreme Pen. Tablets from Abdul Baha, page 83-8, 683, 684.
O thou who art turning thy face towards God, close thine eyes to all things else, and open them to the realm of the All-Glorious. Ask whatsoever thou wishes of him alone. Seek whatsoever thou seekest from him alone. With a look he granted 100,000 hopes. With a glance he healeth 100,000 incurable ills. With a nod he layeth balm on every wound. With a glimpse he freeth the hearts from the shackles of grief. He doeth as he doeth, and what recourse have we? He carrieth out his will, he ordaineth what he pleaseth. Then better for thee to bow down thy head in submission, and put thy trust in the all-merciful Lord. Selections from the writings of Abdul Baha, page 51.
Marina.
O Son of Spirit, ask not of me that which we desire not for thee. Then be content with that we have ordained for thy sake. For this is that which profiteth thee, if therewith thou dost content thyself. A servant is drawn unto me through prayers until I answer him. And when I have answered his prayers, I become the ear hereafter, whereat he heareth. O man of two visions, close one eye and open the other. Close one to the world and all that is therein, and open the other to the hallowed beauty of the beloved, O Son of Earth. Wouldst thou have me seek none other than me, and wouldst thou gaze upon my beauty, close thine eyes to the world and all that is therein, for my will and the will of another than me, even as fire and water cannot dwell together in one heart. Baha'u'llah, Arabic hidden words.
Oh God, refresh and gladden my spirit. Purify my heart. Illumine my powers. I lay all my affairs in thy hands. I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. Oh God, thou art more friend to me than I am to myself. Thou art my guide and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved. I will be a happy and joyful being, oh God. I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. Oh God, thou art more friend to me than I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee, O Lord.
Would you like to learn to play worship piano?
Okay, dear friends, welcome to our session tonight. Our speaker today is Riaz Peter, and he will present his talk. Before that, I'll just have a short description of about him. Mr. Riaz Peter lives in Brisbane in Australia. He's a life coach, and he focuses on using spiritual principles and teachings in helping his clients find happiness and success. The focus of this presentation is on fear, self, and the higher nature, and followed by breathing meditation. I'm interested to see what that is. Sorry, Robert, I think Siva shortened the presentation because we lost a bit of time and you couldn't read. But thank you, Siva, for those beautiful readings. Let's welcome Riaz to our session. And Riaz, it's up to you. It's in your hands.
Okay, so thank you, Ahmad, for the introduction. And thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to present this, based on my work and research, some of the teachings of Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha on the mind, the body, the spirit, and also some work on the latest neuroscience research on the mind-body connection. So just to check, is my voice clear and everybody can hear me clearly? Okay, thank you. So for today, what we'll be doing is we'll just be going through a quick overview of a few slides. And then what I'll do is share with you some of my research and my experience in learning how to apply some of the teachings which Abdul Baha talks about, the mind-body connection, and how through my experimentation really of using breathing and breathing meditations and some work from the yoga and pranayama practices that have helped me to learn to tame and calm anxious feelings, fear, and also to learn how to go into a quieter meditative states. So when we get to the part where we do the meditation, I encourage you to have headphones on because the quality of the music and the sound will impact the experience, your experience later on, okay? So I'll begin now with the presentation. Okay, can everybody see that slide clearly? Okay. So Abdul Baha talks about this quote. He says, the body is the horse and the soul is the rider. So I love to use this example of this horse here. And the horse really represents our lower nature, the body. And the rider is the spirit or the mind of man. And when we look at some of the teachings in neuroscience that is coming up, it goes through this common theme. The mind loves what is familiar. So every time you think a certain thought, every time you play a past emotion or a past memory, and you keep repeating that, you keep taking the horse down a certain path. Every time you think a thought, you fire a biochemical electrical signal through your body. And so, just to prove a point there, when you walk into a bush, or you go walking through the bush, and you get to a pathway, which is the path most of us will normally take? Most people will normally choose the path that is well-trodden, the path that is familiar. And we do this because every time you think a thought, the body fires and wires a neurological connection. And when you've done things a certain time over and over, that connection becomes the path of least resistance. So for example, if you're right-handed and you suddenly try to write with your left, you struggle in the beginning to write with your left because you haven't created the pathways, the neural pathways in your mind and body for that connection to take place. And if you switch to your right, you automatically do it quickly. But through practice, through perseverance, normally they say 60 days, through about 60 to 90 days of practice, you will be able to build that neural pathway connection through your body. And the younger you are, the easier it is to make that shift. Okay? So in the same way, if I've linked a lot of pain to someone I love who's hurt me in the past, and every time I think about that person, I remember and link him to that pain, I'm firing a connection through my body. And soon, all you need to do is for someone to mention the name of that person, and you feel the tension in your body straight away. And your body learns how to do it quicker than your mind because you've trained it through this repetition and this process. The second rule of the mind, to take note is every time you create a picture in your head and you repeat words to yourself and you create strong, intense emotions and feelings, this makes that pathway even stronger. And our feelings, in most cases, determine what actions we take. So if you want to shift how you think and feel about a certain thing, start observing the pictures you play in your mind. Start observing the words you say to yourself. And start observing the feelings you feel about a certain thing. Because if you don't observe it, what happens is the body will take the path of least resistance. So going to this path. So it's like the horse, every time the rider takes the horse down a certain pathway, after a period of years of going down the same pathway, soon, when the rider's sleepy or is not aware of what he's doing, the horse just knows what to do because it's been trained to do this. In many ways, our body is the same. When we've thought a certain thought about something and felt a certain way about something, and we've repeated this over and over and over, soon our body knows how to do it better than the mind. And if we want to change and shift to a new way of thinking and feeling about something, we first need to shift that mind-body connection. We have to, in a way, move away from that path of least resistance, that connection and neurological pathways that we've created. We have to break that connection and shift to creating new pathways. Now, I'll link this to how this applies to spirituality and to meditation. Okay, now, here's every time you think a certain thought, your brain fires a biochemical electrical signal. So here's a simple scan of what it looks like when you fire a certain thought or think a certain thing. Your brain creates and fires this electrical signal that produces a pathway through your body. So Abdu'l-Baha says in one of his quotes, man's thoughts is his reality. And this is true because every time you think a certain thought, you are releasing energy. And I'm sure you've walked into a room with a crowd, and when you walk towards certain people, you just go, ooh, I don't like the feeling, and you move away. And a lot of it is due to the energy we are feeling and radiating around us. And the modern science has now created certain equipment or gadgets that can measure the signals, the electrical signals around an individual. And imagine this, if you are in such a negative thought or feelings and you are holding on to a lot of so much hurt and pain and fear and anger, this energy is somehow felt by others around you. And also, it's not coincidence that when you're feeling miserable or angry in a certain day, you also attract other angry people to you because you're vibrating at a certain vibration. And just like a cell phone tower that sends out the signals, people who are radiating on the same vibration are attracted to you. So when you are happy and joyful and you're radiating this love and joy, guess what? You attract other happy and joyful people. So observe on those days where you're feeling miserable and angry, reflect on what type of people you've attracted to yourself on that day, and observe the others as well. When you're happy and joyful and you're going out thinking positively about others, what are the type of people you attract into your life? Because your thoughts are real and they have an energy. So be mindful of this energy that you radiate throughout the day. Okay, now this is a study done by Harvard, and they studied how children learn. So they studied the chemicals and the brain signals of how children learn and how they hold on to the past. So experience triggers neurons in certain regions of the brain that sense chemicals to other neurons in different regions. So everything is connected. How you think about something sends a signal, and it goes back to what happened in the past, and it's looking for that, the path of least resistance, the path that you've created in the past. Repeated experiences create different pathways in the brain that link those to experience to certain thoughts, memories, and behavior. Linked pathways create powerful associations between what we do and the memories of how that made us feel, physically and emotionally. And we are motivated to repeat those experiences that make us feel good and avoid those that make us feel bad. So if I was to summarize this, it would be this. The mind's job is to keep us safe. When you link pain to anything, your mind will push it away. Anytime you link a thought, a person, a feeling, a tune, or anything to pain, your mind will remember this hurt and pain and will move you away from it. So I'll give you an example. You go to work, and every time you're driving to work, you're firing this thought, I hate this job. The people are so mean. The boss is horrible. I hate the pressure. I don't like the work. It's so boring. This job is killing me. Now, every day when you're repeating the same thought to yourself for over a period of time, what happens? Your mind gets this instruction. He doesn't like this job. It's killing him. It's painful. And the mind automatically knows that its job is to keep you safe. That amygdala, your bodyguard, and we'll come to a scan of the amygdala later, its job is to keep you safe. And when you link pain to anything, the body will find ways to push it away. So you might end up sick on an important presentation day. You say the wrong things to your boss and you're upset and hurt your boss. You do things that inevitably create tension in the office, and soon you lost your job. Logically, you're upset because you lost your job, but that inner subconscious mind is celebrating, say, hey, you told me this job is killing you. Here, I'm saving you now, so I'm pushing away. Now, this is an important point. A lot of people I come to struggle in their relationships. And when I talk to them about their relationships, I ask them, what have you linked pain to in your relationships? And often they have a memory where the person I love so much is also the person who caused me so much hurt and pain. And every time they go into a new relationship, because they've linked so much pain to people close to them, as soon as they get close into a relationship, it triggers the alarm system that they've created. Hey, you remember every time you got so close to someone, they hurt you. So what do? They push away the relationships. So if we're not mindful of what we link pain or joy to in our life, the horse, the body, will automatically link it to what you've trained it to do. Give you another example. If someone's had very bad experience in money in their childhood, and their parents use money as a means of controlling them, as a means of giving love, as a means of expressing love, guess what they link money to? They link money to control. They link money to love that is conditional. And when they earn their own money in the future, guess what they do? They do the completely opposite. When they have lots of money, they spend it. Because why? That money is linked to so much hurt and pain. When people learn about these connections and these mind-body connections that they made in the past and how the past affects the present, then they start to realize, why is this happening to me? But in most cases, this happens to people when they reach their 30s or 40s because they've had time to see cycles in their life. Because the mind loves what is familiar, when you look at your life, you will see certain cycles. And every time you link certain pain or hurt at different points in your life to different things, you create like a marker. You create like a coding in a computer, for example. And when something familiar triggers a memory or hurt and pain in the past, that same behavior automatically runs quietly in the background. So what we're talking here about is the conscious and subconscious mind. It's too much to cover today, but all I want you to do is to remember this. The mind loves what is familiar. So if you're getting certain results in your life that you're not happy with, start looking at what is familiar. Look for patterns. Number 2, start observing the pictures, the words, the thoughts you are saying to yourself. For example, what Abdul Baha said, if you want to link joy to someone, always look for the God in others. Always look for the good in them. Because as soon as you look for the faults in others, what do? You're linking pain to that person. And every time you think about that person, you go, oh, I don't like that person. You start moving away. But if you start linking joy to that person, guess what? Every time you think, you move closer to the... And this is perfect for husband and wife relationships. So people in a relationship, they're in a relationship for so long. In the beginning, love is blind. Everything is perfect about this person, this individual. And then after they're married so long, they start to look for the faults. And they forget all the beautiful reasons why they were attracted to this person in the first place. So for those in a long-term relationships, my recommendation is, when you start comparing your wife or your partner to someone else, remember what drew you to them in the first place and start linking them to joy. Because if you link your loved one to pain, what happens is you subconsciously start pushing them away. And that's why we must always find something that we are grateful for in our partner, in our wives, in our husbands, and link them constantly to joy and happiness. Because as soon as we start linking them to hurt and pain, we start pushing them away. And this is automatic. This is your lower self or your lower nature. And this comes to the point of the amygdala. Your amygdala has one job. It is your internal security guard. It is your bodyguard. It interprets love, hate, fear, and runs your emergency fight, flight, freeze response. And if we're constantly living in a state of fear, focusing on all the bad that is happening around us, and we're firing and wiring this neurological signal, this pathway that it's dangerous, I can't go out, there's COVID, people might infect me, I might get sick. If you're constantly thinking this way and you're feeding yourself with the same information and news cycle over and over, you are training your amygdala to live in a state, in a space of hypervigilance. You're training that security guard to be always on guard. And what happens is, if you're in a long-term state of fear and anxiety, what happens is that amygdala becomes stuck in this state. When you work with individuals who are traumatized, either physically or emotionally abused when they were children, they can tell you when they walk into a shopping center, they can pick out other children or other individuals in the crowd who are having same issues. They start to vibrate in a certain frequency where they can pick up the same vibrations in others. And this is common with many people who are stuck in the state of fear and anxiety. So when we are stuck in this state of anxiety, what happens is the body produces adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. And all these are the hormones of stress. And common symptoms of these are anxiousness. You jump and you get startled very easily. You have difficulty going to sleep, high blood sugar levels, fast heart rate, and digestive issues. Now, when I was working with a gentleman whose dad used to come home drunk every night, even 30 years later in his adult, adulthood, he had difficulty going to sleep every night because he has been trained since young. I need to be awake or in a state of readiness at night, because when my dad comes home late at night drunk, he hurts people. He hurts my mom. He hurts my brothers and sisters. So I must be ready. And this is that constant firing and wiring of the signal. And if we don't shift how we think and feel, we always go back to that point where this belief is created. So now I come to, what does Abdu'l-Baha, and I started looking and researching into what does the religious text talk about the sympathetic nerve and the nervous system, and how does it work? And Abdu'l-Baha wrote an interesting article which was quoted in the Star of the West. He said the powers of the sympathetic nerve are neither entirely physical nor spiritual, but are between the two systems. So I repeat it again. The powers of the sympathetic nerve are neither entirely physical nor spiritual, but are between two systems. The nerve is connected with both. Its phenomena shall be perfect when its spiritual and physical relations are normal. When the material world and the divine world are well correlated, when the hearts become heavenly and the aspirations go pure and divine, perfect connection shall take place. Then shall this power produce a perfect manifestation. Physical and spiritual diseases will then receive absolute healing. Sorry, the word's missing. Okay, so when I looked at this, I go, what does this mean? Is there something in our body that is like a pathway between the higher nature, the world of the spirit, and the physical body? Because if we read this from Abdu'l-Baha, it's neither material nor spiritual. So it is this mystical connection within us that helps us to connect between the spirit and the body. And scientists have proven this. So for example, when we see someone being of service to others, or when you help a blind man cross the road, guess what happens? Your body releases oxytocins. Oxytocins are the love hormones or the feel-good hormones. Here you are doing a spiritual act, and then how does the physical body manifest this? It manifests this to a release of these hormone or oxytocins that flood the body and help give you a high. When a mother gives birth to a baby and she holds the baby for the first time, nature floods her entire system with millions and millions of oxytocin hormones. And this helps the mother bond with the baby, creates this spiritual and physical connection. So notice how this mind, the spirit, and the body, while they are in connection with each other, how these two affect each other. And so there's 4 chemicals really that they've talked about that is conducive to happiness, which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. So it's like DOSE, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Now there's a few things you can do, but we won't cover that in this session today. When you learn how to tap into these few chemicals and think a certain way and take certain actions, you learn how to produce these happy feel-good hormones in your body. And by doing that, you can learn how to stay in a state of happiness. Meditation is one way of releasing dopamine. Doing things for others, being productive, releases dopamine. Playing computer games, and every time you reach a level and you go bling, bling, your body fires dopamine. Guess why young people are so addicted to the games? Every time they reach a certain level, the body fires a feel-good hormone. And if they don't make this connection, they don't know why they love the game so much. There are other ways of creating dopamine besides games, but if you don't know that, you just feel, I love playing games. It gives me a rush and a high. And so we're addicted in many ways to these hormones in a way. Now, the same way that we can be addicted to feel-good hormones, we can also be addicted to the chemicals of stress. When you talk to people who've been stressed for a long time and suddenly they feel happy, you know what they do? They go, I'm feeling so happy today. When is it going to end? Where's that stress coming? Where's that something? They start looking for something that's going to go wrong. And true enough, because they start looking, their day starts to change. So if you are those individuals who were having a happy day and suddenly you go, something's not, this is too good to be true, and you start looking for the hormones of stress, how about doing this? You go, oh God, thank you for this beautiful day. How much better can you make this day? Surprise me. Because as soon as you do this, you're giving your mind a clear instruction. You're asking it to look for more joy, more happiness. Instead of, wow, this has been a lovely day, something's going to happen. And then you start looking for that chemical or hormones of stress. The better you get at creating a partnership with your mind and giving it clear instructions, the better you are at tapping into happiness and joy. So here is some key research looking into how the sympathetic nervous system is affected when you tap into the vagus nerve. Now, why am I focusing on the vagus nerve? Through breathing, and through breathing in a certain rhythm, in a certain way, through focusing your mind and your heart on a certain topic or a certain point during a short period of time, you can tap into your vagus nerve and start to shift the neurological connections in your body. The vagus nerve runs throughout your system. And one quick way to tap into your vagus nerve is, I want you to do this very quickly with me now. Just close your eyes and you breathe in through your nose very slowly for 4 seconds. And I want you to breathe out through your mouth and pretend there's a candle right in front of you. And as you exhale and blow out through your mouth, you have to ensure that that candle continues to flicker. So closing your eyes, take a deep breath in. And exhale through your mouth, blowing out very slowly. Make it like you're blowing out through a tiny, tiny straw. Slowing down your breath. Another slow, deep breath in. And exhale through your mouth very, very slow. Slowing down the out breath as slow as you can. And one more time, slow, gentle breath in through your nose. And slowing down your breath as you exhale through your mouth, slowing it down. Notice how calm you start to feel. And this is the quickest way you can tap into your vagus nerve. So anytime you're feeling anxious or stressed about something, all you need is 1 minute in quiet, just in through the nose and exhaling very slowly, blowing out through the mouth like through a tiny, tiny straw, and you start to tap into that vagus nerve and it calms you down. And so this is a quick way of shifting from a state of anxiousness into a state of peace and calm. And so today what we'll be doing is we'll be doing certain breathing exercises that will be tapping into this vagus nerve and helping us shift into a calmer state. So how do you tame the horse? If the body is the horse and the mind is the rider, and we've trained the horse to be in a state of stress or feel negativity about something or feel hurt and pain when we hear a certain person's name or act in a certain way that we don't like, and it's doing things almost automatically, we need to learn ways to break or create new mind-body connections. And one beautiful way is through obligatory prayer and fasting. So let's take fasting for example. What happens when you fast? You deprive the horse, the body, of what it loves the most. You deprive it of food. You deprive it of that sense of pleasure, the body connection. And the mind has to take over. The mind has to tell the body, hey, I know you want food. I know you're hungry. However, you cannot eat now. We're going to eat later. And so what we're doing during fasting is we're strengthening the mind and training the rider of the horse to be stronger than the horse and taking back power and control from the horse. And we're choosing how we act and think about certain things. Through using that hunger, we also learn how to resist spiritual temptations. And we learn, okay, this is not in line with the spiritual writings or a certain moral code of conduct. And so I will withdraw from this. And because I've learned and trained myself to be stronger than my physical temptations and connections, I have this power over the body. And in the same way, when we pray every day, what we're doing is we're making the holy writings familiar. And when you read the words, possess a pure, kind, and a radiant heart over and over, and you repeat it and you live your day in a state of prayer, what's happening? You're firing and wiring the words of God through your body, through your mind, through your heart, through your spirit, and you're building this spiritual connection. And so if I am a pure heart, how will I think of others? If I am a kind heart, how will I speak to myself? A kind heart is gentle to himself or herself. A radiant heart radiates love first from within and then to everyone around you. So when we start using and practicing and living in a state of prayer, we start to train our thoughts, focus on the higher power, focus on the higher nature. Okay, so before we go into this, there are many ways to tap into the vagus nerve or to move into that subconscious meditative or alpha state. So this is not the only way. For some people, they enjoy sitting down quietly and going to a meditative state, and they can tap into that place. And Abdu'l-Baha talks about meditation as the key for opening the doors of mystery. In that state, man abstracts himself from all outside objects. In that subjective mood, he is immersed in the ocean of spiritual life and can unfold secrets of things in themselves. So that meditative state is where you put certain questions to your spirit, the spirit answers, and the light breaks forth. And when science, they've measured this is when you go from beta to an alpha state of brainwave. And by utilizing the techniques that we are going to do practice together today, we learn to shift our brainwaves from that alpha logic level, from the beta level to that alpha level, and calm the mind. When you reach into that state, this is where the ideal programming takes place. This is where you can start to train your mind to shift from what is familiar in the past and to reprogram it to create new beliefs, new thought processes, new feelings about certain things. Okay, so before we continue, any questions? Yes, Myung Yong. Just unmute. Yes, yeah.
Yes, sir. I wonder how you help with people come back from the battlefield, from the war zone, who have PTSD, that are obsessed with the bombs and the weapons and the fighting and everything, that after all, they kill themselves. The veteran issue.
Riaz, you're muted.
So what we'll do, Yong, after we've done this breathing meditation, I'm going to ask you, what do you think? How you feel before and how you feel after. Okay? This is a big question. Into trauma, what they've done is they've gone into somatic reprogram. Somatic is really that mind-body connection. And it's been proven, and there's enough research that's been done, that through shifting how you breathe and doing certain things like what we do today, it can help people to shift and move away from that trauma state and being stuck in trauma. Because trauma happened in the past, and it is a conditioning of the neural pathways. What we need to do is to break that past connection and help that person shift and create new neural pathways. And this takes a period of a few weeks to months, depending on how often that person practices and works. And this same principle has also been applied to people who have been physically or emotionally abused as children as well. Okay, so I will come to that young later when after we're done the breathing. Okay, Siva, you have a question?
Yes. You mentioned about sympathetic nerve and vagus nerve. Where are they located?
Okay, so let me see if I've got a slide for that. Okay, can you see this slide?
No.
Okay, let me go there. Okay. So our body really has two systems. One is the sympathetic nervous system, and one is the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is really your fight, flight, freeze response. And your parasympathetic is actually the calming state. I like to compare these two as one is your lower nature and one is your higher nature. So when you calm the vagus nerve, what you're doing is you're moving from sympathetic to a parasympathetic states. And the ideal place you like to be is in a state of homeostasis, where your body is operating in balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. When you're stressed over a long period of time, what happens is your sympathetic nerve is more heightened, your amygdala is more enlarged. The ideal state would be for you to have a state of homeostasis. We need that fight, flight, fear response to be alive, to know that, okay, I shouldn't touch that snake might bite me, or I shouldn't cross the road, the car might come and hit me. Without that sympathetic nerve, we'd just be so courageous, we'll kill ourselves. So that sympathetic nerve is to protect the body. And in a way, my understanding is the parasympathetic nerve, going into that state is almost like your higher nature. And when you're focused on joy, happiness, looking in the good in others, focusing in the joy of life, you create more parasympathetic activity in your body. I like to call this more spiritual feelings. And when you're feeling happy and you help someone, your body releases oxytocins, and that helps with different parts in your body. When you're stressed and fearful, people often urinate. Young children who are often stressed, they often have a lot of pain in their gut and they have bladder issues. So when they release that fear and that whatever it is that's making them live in the state of fear, their bladder starts to relax and they start to get better control of their body. Their gut starts to produce better digestive systems. There's a good book that you can read. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. Every time you hold on to fear or pain in the past, your body remembers this and keeps and holds it in your body. So when you work with men, a lot of men have been trained and conditioned to push down their emotions. As a young boy, when you cry, what do many traditional Indian families do? Stop crying. Boys don't cry. And what do the Western men do? Don't be a sissy, stop crying. But if a girl cries, oh, it's okay, cry. So guess what? We have lots of women who know how to feel and connect with their body and release fear and pain. But we have a lot of men who have learned to suppress anger, hurt, and pain. And guess what? It comes out later on in life. And because they haven't learned how to control their emotion, it comes out in anger, in violence. And COVID has proved that when people are stressed, a lot of the The domestic violence issues have gone through the roof in the last 2 years because of this stress that's happening in the home. And if we haven't learned how to control and manage our feelings and release fear and pain, it comes out in bad ways. So what we like to do when we heal someone is you must feel the feeling until you don't feel it anymore. Because if you keep suppressing hurt and pain and anger, the body will start to express it for you, and it expresses itself through disease, through cancer, through inflammation, and these are really the hormones of stress. Okay, I can't go through that entire line today. It will take a long presentation. So just to keep it short, if you're living in a state if you're feeling angry and hurt and pain, cry. Tears are pearls of the heart, and when you cry, you release the hurt and pain, and your body heals. But if you push down hurt and pain, it holds and manifests itself in anger. And then anger burns the liver, Baha'u'llah says, and jealousy consumes the body. So every emotion of the lower nature has a negative effect on the body. When you focus on helping others, your body releases oxytocin and you get the feel-good hormones. So notice how different chemicals express your lower nature and certain chemicals express the higher nature. Interesting how that spirit and the body reflects. When you're living in a state of joy, you get oxytocins, dopamines, serotonins, endorphins. But when you're living in a state of stress, you get cortisols, adrenaline, neuroepinephrine. These chemicals create inflammation. So when we go back to that quote from Abdul Baha, when we learn how to balance, or if I can find that, when we learn to balance the powers of the sympathetic nerve, and we learn how to coordinate the material and focus on balance, that's when that mystical, magical homeostasis takes place. Okay, so I'm going to speed up here because I don't think we'll have time. We're gonna take about 30 minutes to do this meditation. So if time is an issue, let me know. I will shorten it. Okay, so now this is what we need to do for this exercise. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, this is what I'd like you to do. When you breathe in, feel your belly rising. So in through your nose and out through your mouth, feel your belly rising when you breathe in. Feel your belly falling when you breathe out. Now, Siva, you're very stressed. I want you to release your shoulder muscles. Remember, we must link relaxation to breathing. If we link tension to breathing, we are training our body to live in a state of stress. So many men walk like this, chest puff out, and women like to do this too to make their bosoms look bigger. But guess what they're doing? All the tension is in their upper body. When you study Tai Chi, the first thing the master tells you, he goes, Riaz, let that go. And he tells you to drop and sink your energy to around your hips and your waist. They call it the dantian. Okay? So we've been trained to walk wrongly, to breathe wrongly. So the good way to breathing is when you breathe in, feel your belly rising. When you breathe out, your belly should fall. So try that again. Breathe in, belly rising. Breathe out, belly falling. And if you notice, if your chest is moving up and down too much, you're doing it wrong. So just allow your chest to remain still. So belly rising as you breathe in. Put your hand on your belly and breathe out. Okay? This is the way Tai Chi masters and yoga masters breathe. Some people say, no, you should chest breathe. But for thousands of years, the yogis and the Tai Chi masters and the Qigong masters, they've been breathing in through the nose, belly rises, and out through the nose, the belly falls. For the purpose of today's exercise only, for this 15-20 minutes, we're going to breathe in through our nose, and when we exhale, out through the mouth. So in. Okay, so that's one thing. The next one, we are breathing in for 2 seconds and out for 4 seconds. So the wrong way to breathe is this. When you do this, you're breaking the electrical connection in your body. take your breath like a continuous electrical circuit. So you go. When you're breathing this, there's a connection. There's an electrical current. There's energy flowing in your body. Smooth inhale, smooth exhale. No breaks or pause in the inhalation and the exhalation. Okay? Next important point. So as you're breathing, your body's breathing in this rhythm. It's creating this kind of a flux energy. Your mind, try to focus it on the present moment. And of course, your mind is going to wander. It's going to think of tomorrow. It's going to think of, I have to do all these things. When that happens, you say, hey, come back. And give your mind something to do. I like to tell my mind, focus on the vibration. So that's why when I wear headphones and do the meditation, I feel the vibrations flowing through that auditory nerve. And the auditory nerve sends it through the vagus nerve. So if your mind wanders, tell your mind, hey, come back. Focus on this vibration. The third thing, your heart, focus on love, joy, and happiness. The last thing you want to do when you're doing into that meditative state is think about all the bad things Siva said to me 5 years ago and why I don't like Siva. That's the last thing you should be thinking about. Focus your heart on joy, happiness, and love. Your breathing on the breathing. Your mind on the sound or the present moment. And when you do this, the Heart Mind Institute calls this coherence. And you're creating this strong electrical energy in your body. They call it heart, mind, body coherence. Okay? And then in the breathing, I'll ask you to take a deep breath in and fully out. And then you just hold your breath for as long as you can. Don't worry, if you forget, I'll guide you through this. Now, for those people with heart issues, please don't do the long extended breath holds. Okay? If you need to breathe, just breathe. If you can hold your breath as long as you can, hold it in as long as you can. And when you feel an urge to breathe, you just go and you hold. I'll walk you through this. Don't worry about this for now. Okay, so just a warning here. If you've got any of these issues, just breathe normally. Okay? Don't do the whole breath holds for a long time. Yes, Ahmad, you have a question?
I normally have continuously one of my nostrils closed. Is that because of the issue, or can I?
Don't worry about it. Just breathe with whichever nostril allows you.
Yeah. So I just want to say that has an issue.
It won't affect you. Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. So now, if you have any of these issues, just breathe normally. Don't do the extended breath hold. That I will just when you come to that, just breathe normally. Okay. Other than that, if you feel problems, just breathe more. If you feel like I can't do this, just breathe. Okay. Don't worry. Even your body will do it for you. That's your fail-safe mechanism. Okay. Now, before we go, any questions? Okay. So if you have headphones,
sorry.
Yeah.
Can you just for short sentences describe what you're gonna do, boss?
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to breathe in a certain way according to certain beats. There's music. All you have to do is breathe in the rhythm, breathe according to the music, follow along. And when it comes to the breath hold, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in and completely breathe fully out. Breathe out through your mouth and then you hold. And that is where the magic takes place. When you hold your breath as long as you can, focus on that calm, peaceful feeling that comes with it. And if your body feels it needs to breathe, just take a small breath in and breathe out again and hold again. Okay? Now, this is experiential. Everybody has a different experience. So just go with the flow and give me your feedback after we do the exercise. Now, this is one way I found the best quick way for me, not necessarily everyone, to quieten the mind and to reset it in a way. There are other methods, of course. It might work for you. You might feel this is for you. This might not be for you, but hey, you don't know until you try. Okay, so is everybody okay and ready? So if anybody needs to take a short toilet break, we can take a 2-minute break before we go into the meditation. Yes, Siva.
She said that take a breath in and then breathe out, and then you hold.
Riaz, you are muted.
So just focus on the process. Don't worry about getting it right today. Just go with the flow. This is a practice. So the more you practice, the better you get at it. Okay. So today, just go with the flow. So now, do we need to take a break, anybody, before we go into this meditation? If we do, we can take a short 2-minute break. If not, we'll continue. Okay, everybody okay? Okay, so we'll move forward. Now I'm just going to do a sound check here as I play this sound. Now, if you have headphones, I strongly encourage you to use your headphones. Okay, now I'm going to ask you also to do some humming and some singing later on. So now you know the chant Om, right? Om. There is a lot of wisdom in this sound. Triggers different vibrations in the energy centers in the body. Now, look at the word Alawapa, for example. How many of us say Alawapa 95 times? We go Alawapa, 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 Alawapa. We rush through the Alawapas. Now, the next time you do the Alawapas, go Alawapa. Now, take a minute now. Do this yourself. Close your eyes. Go Alawapa. Alawapa. Feel the vibrations in different parts of your body. And the more you practice this, you start to feel different parts of your body starting to vibrate differently. Alawapa. And there's a reason why Baha'u'llah says 95 times. When you say this 95 times slowly, you're creating different vibrations in your body. And just like we're going to do Om together, when you chant Aum, you feel vibrations in your belly, in your heart, in your glands, in your head area. And when you do it often enough,
there are some Christian friends, but they can say Amen if they want.
You can say Amen, or you can also go Hallelujah. Feel the vibrations. Hallelujah. There's wisdom in why these sacred texts have certain tunes or sounds and vibrations, and why traditions still continue, because it creates different vibrations in the body. So for today, I didn't put Alleluia in because I didn't have time, couldn't fit it in. So there's beautiful music. I like to do Alleluia as well, because if you feel the word Alleluia, feel the vibrations in the body. Hallelujah. And so notice this. And the other one is the Baha'is do Ya Baha'u'llah, which is God is the All Glorious. When we come to Ya Baha'u'llah, instead of chanting it, I'm going to ask you to hum it. And humming produces nitric oxide in the body, in the lungs. Nitric oxide is an antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. And if you have COVID, humming is probably the best thing you can do. And this is proven through various tests in science that humming produces nitric oxide. And humming also creates vibration in your body. So just by going, so I'm going to ask you to be open as we do these exercises to connect with your body. Just like the body keeps the score, when you get angry with someone, anger burns the liver and it forces the liver to vibrate in a certain way. When you start to vibrate in a spiritual language, in a spiritual vibration, what you're doing is you're training your organ to release the lower nature, the lower vibration, and you're helping it to vibrate in a higher frequency, in a parasympathetic vibration. There's lots of science towards what we're doing today, but it's no time to go into it. Just what I'd like you today is be a student and feel. And tomorrow morning when you start to pray, or tonight when you go to bed and pray, instead of saying the prayer, feel the prayer. So when you say, "Oh God, guide me, protect me," feel the vibration of the prayer flowing through you. And when you chant and sing, focus on the vibration through your body. And that way you start to open up different worlds, spiritual worlds start to open up to you. Okay? Good? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to test. We're going to do a quick sound check. So I want you to adjust your volume to make sure it's not too loud for you or too quiet for you. And also if you can hear the sounds as well. Okay, is that sound coming through? Hold on. Can everybody hear that? Can you hear my voice as well? Okay. Okay, loud enough? Okay, good. Loud enough? Okay. Okay, so let's begin. So what I'd like you to do is just closing your eyes, and if you have bright lights, turn it off. Dim the room. It will help you go into a calmer, peaceful, meditative state. And so your eyes will be closed throughout this process. So don't open your eyes, because you want to go into the inner world, the spiritual world. We want to come out of the world of the senses and move into the world of the spirit. So keep your eyes closed throughout this entire process. And as we begin now, so I just want you to breathe. And if you're wearing glasses, take off your glasses, relax. If your belt is loose, loosen up those belts so that your entire body feels relaxed and you can enjoy this process. Okay? Now, secret to this is relaxation. You must link so much calm and joy and peace to breathing. If you're breathing and you're feeling tension, you're doing it wrong. It has to be calm and relaxed. Okay. So just closing your eyes and breathing gently and slowly, softly and deeply, and slowing down your breath. And as you become so quiet, start to focus all your awareness on your beating heart, just becoming so still and quiet, and focusing on the first vibration you felt when you came into this world, the vibration of your mother's beating heart, the first vibration, the first sound that you experienced, and becoming so quiet and focusing on this vibration of that beating heart. And as you hear the sounds, feel this vibration flowing through your ears. Feel the vibration flowing and connecting into your auditory nerve. And just focusing all your awareness on the vibration. feeling the sound of that beating heart. And just relaxing your body. Just becoming so calm and relaxed. And as the music shifts, focus all your awareness on this vibration flowing through your ears. Just breathing gently and slowly, softly and deeply. And as I count now, from 10 to 1, you go into the most peaceful, the most calm meditative state. You are now moving to 10, 9, 8, every muscle, every nerve is becoming so loose. You're going to 7. Everything is becoming so quiet and still. As you move into 6, 5, you focus on my voice. Focus on my voice. My voice helps you feel calm and peaceful. As you move to 4, 3, 2, and 1. Notice how quiet and still everything is becoming. And as we begin this breathing, you breathe in for 4 seconds through your nose and out for 4 seconds through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose. In for 4 and out for 4. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now linking so much relaxation to this breathing, calming the body, focusing on the breath. And should your thoughts wander, just say, come back to this vibration and focus your heart on love, joy, and happiness. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And just relax. Just notice how calm and peaceful the body is becoming. How quiet the mind is becoming. And these quiet moments allow this feeling of love to flow into you. And you can repeat certain words or spiritual quotations to yourself in this calm, peaceful state. I am a pure, kind, and radiant heart. A pure heart views the world from a source of love and joy and happiness. A kind heart is kind to himself or herself. A kind heart is gentle with oneself. A radiant heart first radiates loves from within and allows this love to flow onto others. I am a pure, kind, and radiant heart. And continue that breathing, just breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want you now take a deep, slow breath in and completely exhale out. And you hold your breath as long as you can. And just go into this quiet stillness. You sip a small sip in only when you need to, but if you can hold as long as you can in this quiet, peaceful state. Okay, take a small sip in and completely breathing out. And hold. Notice how still and quiet everything becomes. Take another small sip in if you need to, and completely breathing out. And hold again. Another small sip in. And now I want you to take a deep breath in and hold and relax the body. As you hold, feel the energy rising within you. Feel your body temperature rising. And relaxing the body as you hold with breath in. Hold as long as you can, relaxing the body as much as you can. And on the count of 3, 2, 1, just go with a vibration. Another deep breath in and release a vibration. Now as we move into Om, when you hear the bell, you take a deep breath in and then you go Om. And what I'd like you to do is notice the vibrations. Connect with the body. When you hear the bell, deep breath in and go Om. Go as loud as you can so you can feel the vibration. And if you prefer not to do Om, you can just go Ah if you like. Okay, deep breath in and Om. vibrations flowing through your body. Another deep breath in and deep breath in. Connecting with the vibrations in your body. Feel the feelings. Now notice where you feel the most vibrations. Notice the energy in that area. You can put your hand on your belly, on your heart now, and just feel the vibration connecting with your body. Putting your hands on your belly and on your heart, connecting with the vibrations. And go louder if you can to enhance the vibration. Deep, slow breath in with the bell. Now as you move into silence and stillness, I want you to connect with your body. Start to feel the vibrations. Just breathing gently and slowly, focusing on the vibrations that you feel in your body. Connecting with your body. And as we move to the chant of Ya Baha'u'llah, O God is the O Glorious, what I'd like you to do is, instead of chanting, hum the tune. Breathe with your nose, breathing in, closing your mouth and go choose your own pitch and tone and just hum and feel the vibration again, connecting with the vibration. Breathing in through your nose and okay, breathe in and hum. And breathing in and humming. Notice the vibrations, connecting with the body, feeling the feelings. And breath in. And relaxing the body. Remember, relax. Training your body to relax. The more you relax you are, the more you feel the vibrations flowing through you. And just breathing gently and slowly, softly and deeply. As you go into this stillness, connect with the vibrations now, just feeling it in your body. And as the music shifts, we breathe in for 2 seconds and out for 4 seconds. Remember, smooth on the inhale through the nose, smooth the exhale through the mouth, relaxing the body, calming down the breath, focusing all your awareness on the present moment. And your heart focus on love, joy and happiness. This time when you do the exhale, I want you to just go just go like deep like a sigh through feel the vibrations as you exhale. So in through the nose and on the exhale. In, two, out, two. Feel the vibrations. Relaxing the body, relaxing your shoulder muscles, everything relax. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. Out. building the energy within your body.
In, out, 3, 4, in, out, 3, in, out, 3, 4,
If you feel lightheaded, just keep going forward. As long as you feel safe, keep pushing forward.
out, 3, 4, in, out, 3, in, out, 3, 4, in, out, 3, in, out, 3, 4, in, out.
Keep going. You're doing a good job. Keep breathing. Keep relaxing the body. Going into this calm, peaceful, parasympathetic state. And take a deep, deep breath in and fully out. And hold. Hold as long as you can. Take a small sip in only when you need to, as you go into this silent, quiet state. Small sip in and completely breathing out, and going back into that quiet, peaceful state. Remember, relax. Relax. Relax the body. Relax the mind. Small sip in, remember when you need to, completely breathing out. Just calming the entire body. And you take a deep breath in. And completely breathing out. And just breathing gently and slowly, focusing on the vibrations in your body. Just allowing your breath to come back to normal. Focusing on the vibrations. Just feeling that calm, that quiet, that peace flowing through you. And as the music shifts, focus all your awareness on being so grateful for all the good in your life. Focusing all the awareness on saying thank you, thank you, thank you for all the blessings in your life, and becoming so grateful. The more grateful you are, the greater a magnet you become for attracting even more blessings into your life. And you hear the voices of your angels calling to you from within, for you are the lamp, and the light of the divine is within you. As you connect with this light from within, this love from within, become so grateful now, and focus on all the good in your life. And know that you are not alone. There are powers, mystical forces that come to your aid and assistance as you let go now and become so grateful. Feel this love flowing through your heart. Feel this joy flowing through you. Let go now. Let go. You are the lamp, and my light is within you. In the garden of your heart, plant a rose of love. In the garden of your heart, plant a rose of love. As you become so grateful and as you let go, know that as you surrender, as you allow the Spirit to guide you, be certain that the right book, the right thought, the right door will open to you as the Spirit guides you as you live your life's purpose, as you strive to serve the world of humanity. Know that the right thought, the right synchronicities of life and spirit come to you and flow to you, and life becomes easy as you let go. Let go now, and allow this love to guide you. For you are the lamp, and the light is within you. You are a fire, you are a brilliant light, which in the darkness of the night has been kindled on a mountaintop. You let your light now shine as you glow and radiate for all the world to see. For you are a fire, a brilliant light, which in the darkness of the night has been kindled on a mountaintop. you let your light now shine as you glow and radiate for all the world to see. And as you have faith, as you believe, so shall your powers and blessings be. And just remaining in this quiet stillness state for a few minutes, connecting with the silence from within. Just breathing gently and slowly. Just bringing yourself slowly back into this awareness. On the count of 1, you feel a transformational healing power flowing through you. It's healing all that needs to be healed. It's loving all that needs to be loved. On the count of 3, 2 and 3, you feel so much love, joy and happiness flowing through you. On the count of 4, you gently move your fingers, your toes. On the count of 5, slowly opening your eyes. Just focusing on a single source of light that you see. Just bringing yourself gently and stay seated for a few minutes. This is important. Just stay seated as you come gently out of this state. No sudden movements. And just breathing gently and slowly. And opening your eyes. And so I hope you enjoyed that journey from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic states. And as the more you practice this, the more we learn to calm the body and calm the vagus nerve. And soon you start to live your life in this calm state. You just become a calm person just by doing these exercises once or twice a day. And thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry I went way above the allotted time. My apologies for that.
Thank you, Rios. Fantastic.
Welcome.
Very calm.
Okay, so what did you experience when you hold your breath and you breathe out completely and you went in that hold? What was the feelings you felt.
Maybe we should start on one other time because of echoing.
Okay, so just whoever, as the Spirit moves you, whoever feels like they want to share. I rather people. Oh yes, go ahead, Jung. What do you feel? I need to unmute yourself, Jung.
It's so much easy to hold the breath when you do the diving in the ocean. Then you have no choice but you have to hold your breath for the certain time when you're underwater.
Mm-hmm. That's also high risk though, Jung.
Yeah, no. And you know, we breathe in through the oxygen tank. The oxygen tank, so it's very hard, but it's much easier to hold the breath and maneuver around under the water. The second thing that the young people, they tune in with rocks and roll music. So they like rock and roll. Once the rock and roll on, they on. The spirit is on. The body is on. They're dancing. But with your music, I know it's very helpful. I can see it in the medical like, you know, views. But with the young people, they just like rock and rolls. For million years, they just like rock and rolls on. So that's what I'm thinking. We have to shift them, their mind and their brain to help them to run a better life, you think? Because rock and roll give them a excitement. But I don't know if the excitement will last.
Okay, so Jung, what do you feel, Jung? Bring this back to you.
I normally hear people chanting and hymning, and I really said that I'm not sure about chanting and hymn. Very slow. See, some people, they just breathe so gently. You know, like you can sit with few people and some breathe very heavily and some breathe really gently. You couldn't even hear the breathing. And that's also included in children. So with hymning and chanting for me is, I haven't heard any children hymning at all, but I noticed breathing from people, some really breathe really gently. You hardly hear it.
And this is practice, and you can do it too, to practice.
Yeah.
The more you slow down your breath, the yogis breathe like 2 breaths a minute, or some 1 breath. That's it, and then they just very slow. And in nature, we see the elephants live longer because they actually breathe less. The rat lives one of the shortest lives because its breathing is so fast. In nature, the animals that breathe least actually live longer. So in fact, we have been trained to overbreathe. We're actually breathing too much. So by slowing down our breath, breathing less, we are creating less oxidative stress. We could go for 1 hour discussion on this, about oxidative stress and breathing. Okay, so thank you for sharing, Jung. Colin, would you like to go?
I think Robert's next.
Okay, go ahead, Robert.
Riaz, thank you very much for an interesting meditation. I found it very hard to hold my breath once your breath was out. But when I can actually hold my breath quite a long time when I'm breathing in is a problem. And now, are you answering questions at the moment? Or?
Yep. Yeah, I can do that. Yes.
3 years ago, I ended up in hospital on a regular basis, at least once and some cases twice a month. I'm a conundrum to the medical profession. They don't know why my blood pressure spikes. And when I say spikes, we're talking about 250 over 150. It just comes out of the blue moon. I can be sitting doing nothing. Would a meditation like you just said help in that respect? The cardiologists have no idea. And the GPs have no idea.
So I would encourage you to practice this regularly once or twice a day. And if the breath holds are an issue, do a shorter breath hold. What we're doing is we're training that sympathetic nerve to slow down. We're training that amygdala to relax. And this breathing meditation that we've done is proven to work with, especially with people with PTSD, in calming down the amygdala, shrinking the amygdala down, that it goes back to its homeostasis. Now, it requires practice. People see the difference normally after 1 month or 2 months of doing regular breathing. So I will encourage you to do this, slowing down your breath, especially in for 4, out for 8. So, and if you can do the breath holds, just go as long as you can. But when you feel stressed,
Yes.
and breathing out. What we're doing is, as you gently increase the length of your breath hold, what you're doing is you're calming that sympathetic nerve. Because notice, the longer you breathe, suddenly you feel that sympathetic nerve kicking in. You say, hey, Robert, you better breathe. I'm getting stressed here. You're not breathing. But technically, we can hold our breath for a long time. You can be underwater for 3 or 4 minutes without breathing before you die. It's just that we've been attuned to breathing regularly. So what I suggest is slowly, gradually increase the breath holds based on what you're comfortable with and your body is comfortable with. And you'll find that the more you do this, you become so much calmer. You don't jump when something breaks or something happens around you. You're just becoming more calmer and a calmer person. It just requires practice, Robert.
Just the breathing.
Just the breathing, yes.
Okay then. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who would like to start? Yeah. Siva, next.
Thank you. It was wonderful. On and off, we try to do this meditation and breathing and things like that. My wife would say that we have been doing this. But today, I think probably at the very beginning of our program, we had to do this going out and coming back and all things. Gave me the stress. So my belly was not so good. So even through the meditation that you started, and I was not able to keep up with the rhythm of your 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 3, 4. So that again gave me stress. But as we went through, I became relaxed, and there were some time that I felt the peace, and also as usual I went to sleep also.
and that's perfect. And that's just the body slowing you down. Now, it is quite normal when people do this breathing for the first few minutes, the body resists because it's so unfamiliar going into this calm state. The sympathetic nerve goes, no, this is not familiar, Siva. You don't know how to relax. I'm not letting you go there. But as you persevere, it goes, okay, you really want this. You're persisting, okay, I'm going to let go. And you'll find it normally takes people 5 to 10 minutes before they really start to calm down. And that's normal, the journey that you've gone through. Colin.
Yeah, thank you very much, Riaz. I also, when I didn't have oxygen in my lungs, I wanted to breathe more than anything else. It wasn't interested in being calm, but I do take time every day to look for a calm space, and maybe I can focus more on the breathing at the same time. Can I just ask about the book, The Body Keeps the Score? Because I did read that and I found it very. Do you mind if I just mute you for the echo? I found it very helpful because until I read that book, I thought, well, who needs mindfulness of the body? Because we're trying to be detached from the body. Let's develop our soul, and the body will be okay. But that book changed my mind, and I had a couple of questions about it. It talks about the undamaged essence, and I'm wondering if that's the soul, and it talks about healers and trusted ones and therapists. Can that be God? Or does it have to be a therapist?
Okay. Now, when you go into that quiet place, there's a stillness that comes in. And many of the mystics and great educators of the past talks about this stillness. In the Bible, it says, be still, be still and know that I am God within. And it is quieting, taking ourselves out of this logical chatter and going to that calm, peaceful, meditative states. And it is in that state where we're actually moving into a spiritual realm. And you hear these stories of the martyrs and people who are being persecuted, or when they're being hit. In the beginning, they feel the first 2 lashes, but after that, they're communing with their Lord, and they don't feel any of the hits after that. They've shifted into that peaceful state, and they've turned off that sympathetic nerve and moved into that parasympathetic states. So this is really a practice. The more we learn to go past our logical mind, become calm and peaceful and be still, and that's where we find the calm. In the Baha'i writings, it says, "Thou art my lamp, and my light is within thee." So that essence is there. We just need to connect with that light from within. And the more we pray, the more we feel the prayers, the more we take time to be in nature, the more we connect with the spirit and what is around us. Yeah, mindfulness is actually a bad word. Mindfulness. We actually want mind emptiness. But yes, you're right. So that book, it brought home to many people that the more we linger on to the hurt and pain of the past, the more that vibration, and we keep firing the same neural circuitry. Every time we hold on to hurt and pain, we're firing the same wiring, and we're vibrating the organ, and it's holding on to that negative lower vibration. As soon as we forgive and let go, we're not forgiving for that person, we're forgiving for ourselves. And when we let go and we focus on joy and love and the lesson we learned, then we fire a different neural pathway, and then that organ releases. So the reason why I do humming and breathing is just to help people to learn to reconnect with their body, because we're so used to not connecting with the vibrations, and we're so distracted by life. By just quieting down, humming and breathing, we start to connect back and we start to release those vibrations. So I hope I answered your question. So about mystics and healers and all that, my understanding is this. It's difficult to help another person if I'm so noisy and distracted. The more you can become more in touch with your spirit, the better a channel you become to be of service to others. And in the Bible it says, "O Lord, make of me a hollow reed from which the pith of self had been blown, so that I may become a channel for thy love to flow unto others." So the more we become a clear channel and we let go the lower nature of hate, anger, fear, and we start to vibrate love, joy, and happiness, that of the essence of God and the spirit within, the more we become a tool and a blessing to others. So you're right, these healers and meditators, hopefully if they've done their inner work and they've done their work to become clear, so that they can become a tool to serve others.
Thank you.
Vasanta?
I try to practice meditation regularly, not every day, but sometimes I miss. But what I find is when I sit and relax and meditate, my body becomes like I feel like a numbed one. I don't know. I ask people, but they say they don't feel it that way. But I don't know why that reason it becomes. Is that common?
Okay, so there's a nerve called the psoas nerve, or the psoas muscle, PSOAS. That is the largest muscle in your body. Now, the psoas muscle holds on to, it's linked to your vagus nerve and your sympathetic nerve. If we're holding on to a lot of stress and hurt and pain, that muscle becomes very tense. Many people cannot sit cross-legged because that muscle is so tense. And that's why people start to do yoga or different movements to learn to relax the muscle. But if you feel sitting in a certain position is painful, find a comfortable chair, shift, or sometimes do walking meditations. Just go somewhere where you feel calm and peaceful. It doesn't have to be sitting down. Yes, sitting down cross-legged is not for everyone because their muscles are so locked and tight. if we learn this from young and we learn to relax our body, then we learn to become more in tune with the vibrations. So if that's difficult, try yoga, try breathing, try different ways of relaxing the muscles.
Thank you. The breathing, I find it difficult to hold after expelling.
Yes. And so this is practice. Everybody who's done this the first time, they struggle. So the more you practice, now here's the key thing. When you're holding, you feel that sympathetic nerve kicking in. And it's telling you breathe, and you get a stress kind of feeling. This is where we need to tell the body, I like this, I want this, I want to become quiet and still, I can hold. So you're training the horse, the sympathetic nerve, to sit down. You're training the body to sit down, don't move, I want this. In the beginning, it's challenging. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And you realize, hey, I'm not in danger. I can sip in anytime I want. I can breathe anytime I want. I'm choosing to go into this state. And the more you do this, the better your nerves start to calm down. Now, this is only one way of doing this. There's many ways you can go into a meditative state. Some people prefer just to sit still and just focusing on their heartbeat and just breathing. That's another way as well. So this is one way to roam. This is not the only way to roam. Okay. Yeah, Ahmad.
Yeah, my experience was that I couldn't tune with the pulse of the mother, but then I decided that, I can sense my own pulse. So I put my hand on my wrist and was pulsating, feeling that pulsation.
Whatever works for you, that's the way.
But the thing that affected me most was when you started saying, you think that you're on a mountain, on top of the mountain, and you're glowing, and it really affected me, and I could feel that glow and that experience. Again, my nose has got problems, so it was difficult for me to do the breathing properly. But I wonder whether we can do the reverse, whether we can breathe from the mouth and pass it to the nose.
Yep, you can also do that. Nose is better, but because mouth triggers more sympathetic nerves. Here's all your sympathetic nervous system. And notice when you see a car coming towards you and you're stressed, do you go, or do you go, It's the gag reflex. That's the sympathetic reflex. And so that's why we try to get people to breathe in, do more nose breathing. Mouth breathing has been proven scientifically to trigger more sympathetic nerves in the body. And there's enough research now to show mouth breathing is actually not good. We are meant to breathe in through the nose. Yeah, but if you have health issues, you have to breathe. So breathe.
That's my difficulty at night time. I breathe through my mouth and then nose is blocked and causes a lot of problems.
Hence the snoring and everything else. That there's some tongue exercises I found that you can do to relax the muscles here and help you breathe better, especially at night. Especially people who snore. There's some exercises you can find on YouTube, tongue strengthening exercises to strengthen the muscles here so that you can start to breathe more relaxed in a way.
Do you have a YouTube
channel? I have 1 or 2 meditations on it, not too many.
Yeah.
I can put more. I should put more on it, actually. Yeah.
You have the recording of meditation only?
Yeah, so we recorded this. I can send you another different one meditation. It's called Awakening Breath. I'll be happy to share that with the group. I'll send it to Siva and he can share it with the rest of the group if he likes.
Can you share us the music? I think music is very important with the whole sound. And you have a very calm sound. And I guess when you were speaking, it calms people. It calms me.
Lots of practice. Many of my clients say I put them to sleep. I said that's the greatest compliment, because when you can put people to sleep, it means they're so calm and relaxed and they go into this peaceful state. Okay, so Again, thank you so much to everyone, and so sorry to keep you awake still so
I
late.
think Jung has got another question. Let me ask a question.
Oh, yeah, Jung, yeah.
We are 9:45, but very short.
Yes, very short. I thought that if we breathe in by the nose, it go to the brain, the oxygen go to the brain. But if you breathe in by the mouth, the very little oxygen go to the brain. Is that correct?
Good question. I think oxygen goes to the brain either way. It's just that what are the nerves you're triggering as you breathe? I can't remember, the book is by John Nisbet, and he's a reporter who basically went through, I think it was Johns Hopkins University, and did an entire study where he taped his nose for 30 days and just did mouth breathing. And he recorded and did all the research to show what happens in your body when you mouth breathe. If I get the book into my mind, it'll come and I'll give it to you. It's not coming to me, but Google breathing reporter study. You'll probably find that book. Let me see if I can pull it up later.
Well, science is that oxygen takes place through the lungs and then it's spread everywhere.
The oxyhemoglobin brings oxygen to the cells that need it. So when you breathe in, the oxyhemoglobin and the process of osmosis takes place. Yeah, that's a big complicated. I'm sure Dr. Ahmad will do better justice to this question. Okay, so I'm just mindful of time. One more question.
Last.
Can I say something then?
Yes, go ahead.
I just wonder whether I do the right thing. When you say breathe in, do you hold your breath and then not breathing out? Is that what you do or what?
Okay.
Or you just breathe?
So when in the middle of the breathing, you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And at the end, when the music stops, you take a deep breath in and you complete breathe out and you hold. What we're doing is we're triggering intermittent hypoxia. Intermittent hypoxia has proven to help people elevate certain hormones and levels in the body. Intermittent hypoxia also calms the mind. And athletes train in high levels because they want to learn how to breathe less. They learn to use less oxygen and their body works better at using less oxygen. So there's lots of research showing that the less you breathe, actually the healthier it is. So the entire breathing that we're doing, we're going, what we're doing is we're expelling as much oxygen out of the body, increasing the CO2 content in the body. We're forcing the blood cells to open up and learn how to become more efficient at using the oxygen in the body. And then the cells learn to work better. I can send you a research on intermittent hypoxia if you like, and the benefits of intermittent hypoxia. They call it IHT, intermittent hypoxia. And this is what this breathing is doing. The ancient yogis also talk about when you breathe in and you completely breathe out and you hold your breath as long as you can, you're triggering and you're actually tricking the mind that you're actually going into this near-death experience. And what studies have shown is when you go into this near-death experience or you trick the mind, the body releases its own DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is actually a form of marijuana. So it's your body's internal drug or hallucinogen, and it calms the body. It's not easy to get into this state. You have to do some really radical breathing and really to shut off. And the pineal gland is the one that releases the DMT into your body.
So you're saying breathing in and then breathing out and then hold. Okay. Can't hear you. You're muted.
Yep, you hold as long as you can, and don't worry, your sympathetic nerve will let you know that you need to breathe because its job is to keep you alive. It will go yin, breathe, so you will breathe. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Siva. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Riaz, thank you very much for that session. It was fantastic. I think one of the best ones that I have been through. Please send your the sound thing to see what you can share with us, because I will use that personally.
Will do.
Thank
I'll
you,
do.
dear.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ria. Nice to see you again.
Come again.
Okay. Okay. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.